Thank you. Thanks for the welcome. Good evening to all of you. I know it's been a 6-hour long, heavy, researchy, scientific sessions. At the end of the day, we discover that whatever research, whatever scientists, whatever policy that is taking shape is for enterprises out here to manage the employees. And how do we manage the employees? It's through their devices, because at the end of the day, all the ingress of threat happens through the devices, and that is precisely our end goal, to help you manage and ensure we all stay protected. So SOTI is, there's no expansion to it. So when she was spelling out the name of the company, I was slightly amused, because we are 30 years old and that's the name of the company. So there might have been some acronym, because history has it that when the first deal was cracked and our CEO got the first deal, even the company's name was not formed. And somebody asked, how do I cut the check? In whose name? Software Object Oriented Tech Incorporated. Maybe that's what went through his mind, and then the name was formed. So that's the history of it. So I'll quickly start jumping into what I would like to. As I said, yes, we are headquartered at Mississauga, and we are about 30 years old, one of our largest customers. The reason why this comes up first is because if you look at an airline and air travel, the moment you walk into the aircraft, into the airport, you are actually checked in by the CISF and the people who scan your bags on all kinds of rugged industrial devices. Those devices we manage. When you walk into the aircraft, the person who checks your boarding pass and then lets you in. Business class passengers have iPhones, so we manage iOS. And when you walk into the economy class, maybe even in the US, there are low-cost airlines where people swipe their credit card to buy food and drinks. Yes, you need to be PCI DSS certified. Yes, so the devices need to be managed. And as you exit, then there are devices which the service engineers who actually use to do the inspections and all that. There would be different kind of devices. There would be Windows devices in the offices, in the ATC. We manage them too. So that's the spread of the devices that we manage. And yes, whatever needs to be done to protect your data. In terms of how big we are, in terms of, because when you say startup, you always think of burning cash year on year, week on week, month on month. But we always believe in investing back into the business in terms of people. And in India, we are headquartered in India at Gurgaon, and we have a development center at Kochi. So half the strength of our global population would be out of India. We manage about 2.2 crore devices, which spans this entire operating system landscape. Some of our partners, the partners could be the device partners, because you need to have all the devices certified, and that's how they end up being our partners. We work very closely with them. Because it's not easy working with so many devices. You have a slew of devices that could be made in the US, made in China, and unless you have those alliances ready, you just cannot end up managing those devices securely. So that's our spread of offices. Incidentally, we didn't buy Microsoft. We bought Microsoft's head office in Canada, and we had about 4 or 5 offices. So there was a joke going around saying, did you guys have the guts to go on Microsoft? So that's the story behind the latest joke that was going around the internet. And incidentally, Cochin, you might be asking why Cochin, because Cochin is not the tech hub. It's not Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad. Why is it that we have an office in Kochi? Kochi also, incidentally, like our Mississauga experience, it went through, we started as recently as 2019, and in 2024, we are already in the 4th office, and we bought our own space, and then we are trying to make a big facility out of it. So some of our customers, just for the sake of referencing, it could be anybody from the SMEs to the Fortune 100. So we have them all. India too, we have customers in BFSI, e-commerce, quick commerce, government, retail, you name it. BFSI is pretty large. I have some points to make. I don't know if people in the industry would really sync with me on that, more of that. Yes, in terms of government, because we had quite a few folks from government who are policymakers. Police modernization is one of the biggest subjects today, and tons of money, billions of dollars are being sunk in. Where we can help is some of the things, some of the thoughts they may be using in some parts of it, and I think there are a lot of opportunities for them to adopt. And not very futuristic, we already have an entity called SOTI Aerospace, who are going to be into managing drones as a device. If we can manage devices that carry data, drones would be carrying stuff. Maybe over a period of time, drones would be carrying people. So yes, that's on. Already about 4 or 5 years of work has happened, and I'm sure we'll go commercial soon on that, in that space. Yeah, some more ideas in terms of where government can possibly use devices, because when it comes to using devices, because there are only two things that we do. One is we help you build applications, and applications we use all the while. Without applications, without apps, without devices, our life just doesn't exist, just cannot run. Whether to come in here, stay here, or exit from this event, we are always dependent on them. So in terms of building applications, you really don't have to go to a developer, spend tons of money and wait for months on end. There are some quick no-code, low-code app development utilities, which I think we do, and many of our colleagues in the industry also do. That's something which requires a lot of adoption. We are working on it, and we request people in the industry to add speed to it. It could be Microsoft, it could be people from Manage Engine. If we are able to add speed to it, I'm sure it will do the country and economy a lot good. Yes, health, of course, devices are there, and education, yes, tons of devices are being given. It could be free devices being given away to students as part of welfare, or it could be used in smart classrooms. And all these devices need management, because appropriate content has to be streamed, has to be seen all the while. Yes, Postal Department is one more. So I'll just rush through this, because some of it would be commonsensical. All of us would have seen devices being used by the likes of Amazons and Flipkarts, and apps being used. So similar functions in government too exist, and we can add value to them, and we have been continuously adding value. So maybe I'll just go the reverse way. When I said we help enterprises build applications, these are no-code, low-code app development utilities. So we do that, and we help manage devices, and we add heft to just managing devices by giving deep analytics. So this is what I was talking about, which we help enterprises and government build, which is build apps in a jiffy. It could be something as simple as HR. It could be in any function of a business. It could be in sales, because we are all in business. You need to capture leads. I meet 10 people here. If I want to capture, you walk into an event, maybe even the visitor management, when people are getting into offices, if they have to be allowed in. These days, people buy apps, and then they keep it in the reception, and then people just key in their name, entry credentials, get their photo clicked, and then, so that could be placed out here. So that's something which people can think of when you go back to your businesses. So it could be used by sales guys. We get a lot of inquiries where the sales guys like us, we keep traveling. So there are some organizations which want to micromanage, and they would want to find out where was this sales guy, what was his routing. So in case there is a need for that, or there could be people in healthcare, hospital who are gathering data. If their presence in a particular place is required, and they can just enable their GPS, or if they are company-owned devices, you can mark your attendance and it can get captured. So we are talking about ChatGPT and DeepSeeks and all that. So we do use a lot of generative AI, and we call it SOTI GPT internally. So you really don't have to do really a drag and drop. You just say what you want. Okay, this is a sales lead capture app. Just make a form and then send it to me, and you could get stuff like this. Regular office printers, it is the printers that are used in the warehouses and in the shop floor, which are the barcode label printers, and those are the industrial grade printers. So we can manage them typically like how we manage your mobile devices, because all these have either MQTT or REST API, and we manage it through a connector. This is the deeper intelligence that we bring into the device management as an activity. For instance, let's assume maybe Swiggy or somebody is using devices which are given by the company, and these are blue collar workers. They just couldn't care, and maybe they get about 15,000-20,000 rupees, and if they are unhappy with their boss, they could just be throwing the device, ill-treating the device. So how do you ensure somebody is not ill-treating the device, abusing the device? Can you track it? Yes, you can, because we use GeForce, and then we find out how many times somebody has dropped the device and it has just not fallen down accidentally. So we give you analytics around that. For instance, you want to you build tons of you spend tons of money in your ERP and other application builders, and if you want to find out is your organization seriously using the applications? How many times are the apps in the foreground? How many times are the apps being used? How long is it in the foreground? So all this can be unearthed through the kind of analytics that we give. So it is, and there could also be instances where, let's assume you have about 25,000 or 30,000 devices or thousands of devices, and you need to know how many batteries will come up for a replacement in about 3 months' time. Do you know now? You will not know. What you would do is, you just, because if they are company-owned devices and the Swiggy guy or a Blinkit or somebody has to deliver grocery to you in 20 minutes flat, he has to ensure the business just doesn't stop. So the blue collar worker, if his battery is down, he just unplugs it, puts it on the charger, and then takes. So you have to provision for 20, 30, 50% of extra devices, extra batteries. So that's the kind of redundancies that they have to build, and that costs tons of money. So that is where we bring in analytics, and we'll tell you in the next 90 days how many batteries will come up for replacement. Do you have to go and buy those many tons of batteries and have extra devices as redundancies, or can you plan, can you be sure that this is what is going to be my forward path next 90 days? Yes, I'm sorted. So I will not run out of batteries. I can tell you how long you've been charging a device, because you know the sweet spot for a battery to stay good is 20 to 80%, because we always sometimes leave the battery on charge overnight and all that, which is not good. Though there are some smart batteries which cut the charge at about 80% or whatever. So you can actually analyze the pattern of the user in terms of how he charges, how he treats the device, how he uses the app, what is the signal strength, if there is a Coca-Cola route agent traveling from point A to point B, can he change the route because his apps are crashing because the signal strength is not good in that area. So you have a choice to change the telco. If the telco in India, of course, you don't have too many choices, you have A or B, but yes, so we can give you deep analytics in that sense. So that's the kind of value add we give when you're using your mobile devices. It can be your Android, it can be they could also be Windows devices being used by the field forces, so we can add value there. When it comes to, so I think this is an explanation of whatever I was talking about in terms of the some kind of your generative AI that we do use when people are using smart batteries. I can tell you in the next 90 days how many batteries will come up for replacement, etc. So when it comes to talking about banking financial services, because there are quite a few people in the NBFC and the BFSI space, in India, India is a country where we still use a lot of BYOD devices. We speak so much about security, hacking, DPDP, PII and all that. Many of the banks, I'm not talking about the private sector, the microfinance, the small finance banks, take your public sector banks. Is it a fact that the government doesn't have money to buy mobile devices and give it to its own employees, because they are dealing, most of the guys at least who are dealing with customers, they're dealing with customers' data. We are talking about Aadhaar card data breach happening. Why should it happen when you are able to have your guardrails taken care of by buying devices and giving? They buy maybe at the cost of sounding slightly parochial. They could be buying cheap Chinese devices. They are not iPhones, they are not Samsung, they are not, maybe though Lenovo is today hails from China, but at least it's slightly more expensive, and maybe they are more Android enterprise recommended, compliant, no tweaking of firmware. So are we being penny wise and pound foolish, because you have the low-cost Chinese devices being used in BFSI, which carries customer data, and then we cry foul and we go back, and are we ready to pay the penalties of 25 crores or 250 crores, which maybe once your DPDP kicks in, your cyber resiliency index framework and all that kicks in. So instead of paying that penalty, why don't you at least buy devices and give it to the employees who are interacting with customers and carrying customer data? So that's something we should seriously think about, because there are some industry leaders from in the BFSI space. I thought I'll take the liberty of talking about it. Yep. So I was speaking about this app usage. When you spend money on apps, do you know how many times your sales guy is opening your Salesforce app? How long is it kept open? How many times? Because in an 8-hour work window, how many times does he open? So all that analytics will come handy. So that's the, I think I'm almost running neck and neck.